do, do. Alrighty, guys. Let's get myself. Let's get ourselves going. I know it's 4:30, but I was looking up some things, trying to get things to talk about today. Um, and not everything was done right away. Into things. Um, and mostly I was just checking to see that, this is only utilizing 10.5. Um, but I'm going to show advanced settings. I don't need freaking VSync. Because it shouldn't be going at 60 miles an hour. Um, Now, for those of you watching from YouTube, who are watching currently on YouTube, um, I want you guys to know that yesterday I did not get on. We did not do, um, also Karobe. Um, nope. So then we will take, I want to go, we'll stick with the used packaging on this. Now, of course, this truck is not doing the greatest, um, for it. But but yeah, I'm gonna wait to get to the level 10 because I like to utilize the service. Right now, we are gonna be slightly off and underneath. Let me check. We got some email. I only got one, but most of the time I usually with overdraw and then I pay it back. Um, and I over on things. Nobody's around, so um, but we should be able to relatively be able to go places, being able to get things um done. Uh, where's the YouTubes? Because I need the YouTube open as well, just to make sure I didn't miss anybody's messages. Um, and I need to open up chat. There we go. There we go. Anyway, well, we have some, as we're kind of getting ourselves out, there's a couple of things that are really big where GameStop is trying to cut out its competition. And GameStop really needs to piss off on this. GameStop needs to, like, the only reason what GameStop is doing is they're buying eBay. And I am one of those people that will not that if GameStop does, like, I have literally given up on GameStop. I literally um specifically decided that, you know what, I am not going to work for GameStop. I completely chose not to. Even if I was given the opportunity, I still chose not to work with them. Why? Because of a couple of reasons. There's a lot of things is that you're forcing to push people into making sales and making sales. Like, yes, I understand that you have to make sales, of course, but after realizing that they are not pushing for what their name is entailed, GameStop, and pushing a lot of collectability, pushing a lot of those kinds of things, um, and not really, and prioritizing things that don't sit well with me. Like, if I ever did open up a game store, to be honest, I would be do better a lot than better than GameStop. I would never sell new unless it's an older thing and it's been wrapped and things like that. But if I was selling new, um, I wouldn't care. Like, you come in, you buy, like, for me, it's like if you come in and you buy a brand new PlayStation 5, okay? What we do is when you come in and you buy a brand new one, we can give you a 25% discount on used copies of games. So that means when you come in, you can buy a used copy of any game you want for 25% off, which allows for people to still come in, buy the PlayStation 5 brand new, making sure that it works just great and make sure that it's fine and dandy. But then you come in and you buy um a uh most used most brand new. If it's brand new coming in from a seller or things like not selling it through certain places, then okay, fine. I'm not gonna be like I'm gonna give you the 25% discount. Like if you're coming in and you're selling a brand new PS4 to us, you're not gonna get that 25% discount. But giving when PS4s aren't really relatively, I would say no. I would say like if you're coming in selling a brand new Nintendo Wii, okay, Wii U or Wii, we don't get that. You don't get it unless it's the previous generation or current generation of systems. Because um, the point of the matter is when you do something like that, um, you're basically what we're doing is we're actually buying it off of you, um, for and if you and somebody else comes and buys it, basically you don't get the 25% discount because it's us making it's us not providing a service um for it, because you're basically like if you're coming in here to buy a PS5, PS5s are relatively easy to come by. But we offer a 25% discount on previous and current gen on used titles when you buy a brand new one. And it would be consistent. Um, eligible places like that, you know. And you also get like a little card stamp. Um, that when you come in and you get like a stamp a card, you get in, you get like extra reward points. But you get those rewards. But we don't push people to buying used or new. It's if you buy a brand new system, you can still get that card point. You can still get marked um for and all you get is like $7 off of a movie or a $7 off of a game. We sell. I would sell not collectible T-shirts and collectible um things at a GameStop. People are like people come to a GameStop are expected to come to a GameStop to do it. Now, of course, GameStop would be, for me, considering a GameStop would be, okay, you're selling board games, card games. Okay, that's still considered games. That is still considered what the name of the place is. You're selling those things. Okay? Like I am somebody that would sell PC games and games of all kinds rather than selling just specifically trying to sell collectibles, trying to sell merchandise in a sense. It goes to show you that yeah, we would sell amiibos because that's part of um that'd be part of um the games that would be there. But GameStop buying GameStop buying eBay is not something I would want to see, because I actually realized after watching a video, I realized, oh, okay, so they're basically trying to cut out the competition. If it wasn't for them trying to cut out that competition, then I would say then I would say, okay, we're doing it in a way that's not going to um where I wouldn't be somebody that would go out and sell um a lot of these titles, a lot of these things where I wouldn't go out and sell clothing or or actually I don't need to go that way. Duh. Yeah, yeah, but to be honest, eBay is one of those places where you can go out and buy used stuff. Now, what I will tell you is you should always look into doing a couple of things. Always go and look at your local GameStop, local game store. Don't go buy from GameStop. Buy from a mom and pop shop. Unless that game is literally um uh you're finding that game to be a little bit more expensive than what GameStop would be. But a lot of times buying it locally, I would rather buy local and buy from places like that. I have also been thinking about doing that where like we have a whole host of those things where I've been thinking about wanting to go to that place just to see what we can get for selling a lot of movies, like some movies that are and some things like, oh yeah, we have like a few things that I pretty much basically am not keeping around because the point of the matter is why keep things that you're never going to really sit down and actually watch or do things on a lot of things. And I don't get rid of a lot of games. I'm actually kind of somebody that I don't have every ounce of playing every single game, but having spent on some games that that that's what I'm doing right now is I'm working on back catalog um on my YouTubes and working on my back catalog for a lot of these games. Like I'm gonna sit here and work on these back catalogs of games that I haven't touched yet and trying to clear out a lot of it. Like I am starting to get through that. Now, of course, um yeah, I am going to do that because we've got a vehicle that I did not see there. Luckily, nobody's going to back up behind me. But One of the things that bothers me a lot of times with these with companies basically trying to kill their competition. That they're like like a lot of people will look at this and be like, there are plenty of times where competition has been bought out because they want to be able to control the market, they want to be able to take that market and only do that. But guess what? We have plenty of game places outside of GameStop that you can go out and buy from. You have DK Oldies, you have, you know, um, you have a lot of these places where you can go out and buy from other places that actually might have a better reputation. GameStop tried to get into the to doing this, but people aren't going to GameStop as like they used to. And it's like I haven't gone to a GameStop in years because the point of the matter is like a lot of this stuff is like a lot of it is like we're spending a lot of our time just um thinking that and to be honest, GameStop's gonna lose a lot of on a lot of things because of the digital future. That's the only reason why a lot of the why GameStop is falling apart is not just because of the all digital future coming, but also because of the um um not only that, but we also have the uh you know a lot of the older stuff. A lot of people really it's hard to basically keep a good reputation when you go and you buy from a business. Okay, the whole thing when you go out and buy a used PlayStation or you go out and buy a used um where are we okay, so before we do um okay, so we're not going over here, which is fine. So I need to take the I need to go down to the go down here. um and these all digital process with GameStop being going to buy eBay is basically all they're doing is they're not really caring about what the system is bringing to the um bringing that they cannot compete, so they're going to literally they can't even afford to pay 56 billion dollars to buy eBay. Like they're going to crush eBay because they're falling apart themselves. If they cannot get if GameStop cannot physically get their shit together and actually make profit, then they shouldn't be buying eBay. They shouldn't be buying places like this. Now, of course, I said I don't. It's like at one point I did say that I didn't care. I said this yesterday where I didn't care about it, but then I realized, oh wait, there was some more information that came to light about that they're paying $56 billion. GameStop does GameStop really have that? And no, they don't. They didn't have the availability they have to incur debt just to buy eBay for 59. If I had the money literally to outbid GameStop, because I would basically would do it. I'd outbuy GameStop and actually make sure that eBay stays the way it is. Maybe fix a few things here and there, and make it for better at it. You know, but eBay, with GameStop buying eBay, I am not going to be more trustworthy with eBay as with GameStop, because when you go to GameStop, like I watch a lot of these videos where I watch like Austin Evans, um, and I watch a lot of um, some of these places where they go out and buy games um, from GameStop, and a lot of times you don't get. Sometimes you'll get the good video game. Sometimes you'll get the bad video game, and a lot of times when you go to GameStop, they will literally. I've seen, I've seen where you go around and you go to GameStop, somebody trades in a game, or sometimes they will you get pennies on that game. Where sometimes you go to like a mom and pop shop, you might get a little bit more than pennies for that game. That game may be worth a little bit more buying off of than buying through GameStop, because you're able to make much more money on it, and stuff. You can sell it yourself. That's what a lot of people do these days now. Is a lot of people will literally go and sell it themselves. Like I am literally sitting here, was just browsing through Facebook, and I was just browsing through Facebook for some Guitar Hero stuff, and I saw a whole bunch of somebody just trying to sell off a lot of PS3 stuff, and and it's like, wow. So basically, it's going to be a lot harder to sell there when when people don't quite trust you. You're somebody that's brand new selling, or things like that. But the importance of these things is that you go out and you buy, say you want to go out and buy something um off of this place, you might actually be able to find some actually good deals. Like sometimes you go off to you go on eBay and you buy a PS3 for $60, and that PS3 $60 comes with a controller and a few things. Like that's actually, and it comes with everything for $60 instead of paying $100 or whatever. That means they're undercutting GameStop for what it's worth. But what I always like to do is I always go to GameStop and mostly like if I sell anything, I will look at GameStop's pricing and then I'll just undercut GameStop. That's what I do. I undercut GameStop because on most things that are like, if they're not selling for like um if a PlayStation is selling for PlayStation 3 is selling for $100, then I can sell it off for um $60. I the only time that I wouldn't do something like that is like I have a whole bunch of Magic that I've been thinking about, maybe I just sell my entire Magic collection off. I've been thinking about selling it for $2,000 the entirety, because I basically, part of it is basically, if I do sell it off, it would be basically 500 of it would go to me, and the rest of it would probably either go to my mom or something. And if I did the $500, basically it would just basically give me enough to buy a hard drive for a PlayStation, for my PlayStation, or you know because most of that money was supposed to go to my mom anyway. Anyway, because I basically was getting that for college, and some of it was supposed to go to my mom anyway. Anyway, because every year I would get a stipend. Um, yep. Guess what? I was supposed to go downwards. Okay. Um, so I could do that. But I also need a new laptop, to be honest. This laptop's kind of not doing me the greatest um, right now, and that's a thing where I need to upgrade it so that if is anything that and I've been thinking about it, but it's like like I haven't been going out and buying a framework laptop because the point of the matter is that's what I want to buy. But it's becoming to the point of laptops are getting more expensive. Like, yeah, you might be able to get some cheaper things, but it's like I want to be able to have that repairability um, through framework, and actually um, buying something that I can actually utilize. I'd still keep the computer that I have now, but I would necessarily would not keep it for gaming. It would actually necessarily just turn it into a Linux place where I can just use it for Linux and have the framework laptop be for Windows, modern gaming. But I also thought about maybe I'll just keep this one Windows and make the other one Linux based, because to be honest, it's one of those things where I am actively supportive of Linux more. Um, um, I am actively more supportive the of Linux being that way. And so I'm like I have pretty much given up on a lot of Windows. Like I am most of my single player content on PC, I have literally am just running Linux. Literally, it's so simple, so easy. And if you are worried about not being able to have access to Google products, or worried about not having access to um uh to not having access to Outlook or having access to certain things, you still have access to it. You will still have access. You have access if you wanted to use Google Chrome because you're a diehard Google Chrome fan. You can still use Google Chrome on Linux. If you are still wanting to use Gmail, you still have access to Gmail. You just use a web-based browser to access it. If you wanted if you wanted to be able to play games, you can play games easily through Linux. Easily. You can do it through GeForce Now. If Now, of course, I would not support GeForce Now. I am somebody that even on you could do it for a free tier. You can play Fortnite through that. You can still do a lot of things. You can type through LibreWolf and type through um, open. Uh, there's another one that you can do that's there. You can like if you need a video editing software. I use Shotcut, but you can use. I'm pretty sure there's like another one out there. I think it was DaVinci Resolve or something. Um, I think there's another one out there that you can use as well. but it's just not coming off the top of my head. You can use Reaper for music. If you know, like I've used Reaper before, so I'm not no slouch to it, and um, I've used Reaper a little bit enough to really I could use it. Um, there's a lot of other things you can do with Linux. If you're somebody that utilizes the process to getting um, and a lot of things, then you have the opportunity to really spend your time to using Linux. Like if you're now, of course, if you're somebody that needs to have teams because your work has teams and you have to deal with that, then that's a different story. It's mostly going to be Pacific. Um, early glass. It's whatever. People can. Um, but it's basically it's one of those things where you can and use whatever you want. Uh, and things like that. Like, to be honest, playing games and playing things through anything or doing something, you know, you have options. You don't always have, like, people will say, "Oh, I can't switch to Linux. I can't switch to this." There's always there's always a reason why somebody can't say they can't switch. Okay? Unless you are somebody who is a streamer, utilize needs Windows for capturing device, um, capturing, and you have an Elgato. Those are the things that really you can't just automatically switch over because you can't you can't do streaming. Streaming is the one thing that has really kept me from switching my laptop over to Linux. Um, certain things, like if you're using Razer products, you're not going to have a great time switching over. But it comes to the point that if you're just somebody out there that does not stream, that does not utilize Razer products or does not utilize some of these things, you can just switch over. You know, if you have to use Gmail, you can use Gmail on your web browser. Whoop you do. You have easy access. But of course, when you decide to switch over and you decide to do it yourself and you want to switch over, there are plenty of people out there that will allow you to help you switch. Um, and there are people out there that are willing to, like, some people out there, like, I watch Mike Tanal. I watch the Destination Linux. Um, and there are a lot of people out there that have switched over using open source product projects that are absolutely probably better than Discord. But unfortunately, I still use Discord because I can't switch over and say, "Oh, I could use Discord and then we just have to go back to PlayStation Plus, PlayStation's chat." But I'm not going to do that because I don't really trust PlayStation either. So it's like I put a little more trust in Discord than I do PlayStation right now. And stuff like that. So it's always a like those things and it's always a fantastic way of being able to do whatever you want. You have choice, it's like you have a choice to play now. Where do you want to play? You have um if you wanted to play, say, um video games, you have a choice to go to Xbox, you have a choice to go to Nintendo, you have a choice to play on PlayStation, you have a choice to to go to Windows, Linux, even Mac. To be honest, Mac has started to kind of get back into that gaming space. It's not perfect. It's not the best place you can play games on, but you can if you wanted to. Your phone, literally. If you're somebody like me um who has a who has played Clone Hero, and you want to play Clone Hero, but you don't have any access to a PC, you don't have access um to a thing, you can play it on your phone. You can play um uh you can play Fortnite on your phone. You have ways to play games. Now, of course, are you going to get the best experience playing on a mobile phone? No, you're not going to get the best experience, but that doesn't mean you're not going to get the best experience ever. But that doesn't mean you don't. You can play your old PlayStation games on your phone. You can play GameCube on your phone. You can not only do that, but you can also play your PS2 on your phone now. Like, you have ways of playing games wherever you want, whenever you want. You have official hardware through third party. You have not through you have official places to play from the official systems. Going out and buying them. You can modify it. You can go out and get modified systems. You can you can play a PS2 guitar on your PC through retro cult mods and these other places that you can go out and buy and utilize a lot of things that you never thought that I never thought would be possible. But you can. You can play wherever you want, whenever you want, and how you want. And I'm not gonna knock you off for playing on emulation. I do it. I'm not gonna knock you off for playing a game off of EA or playing a game off of Epic Games or whatnot. But to be honest, I'm gonna tell you why I won't. I will tell you why I won't be playing through some of these platforms. That doesn't mean that I will stop playing these games. It does not mean that I'm not gonna stop um, playing a lot of video games. But to be honest, the only places that I will buy my games is off of Steam, or GOG, Good Old Games. Those are the only platforms that I will buy off of, because the point of why I won't buy off of Epic Games is because of the practices that they're doing. Um, but GOG, the reason why I said I'll buy off of them is because they're DRM free. You can play any of these. You can basically buy the game, download it, store it somewhere on a server for you, and you can download it anytime you want. Have a backup of that installer, basically being able to play it however you want, whenever you want. And that's a great thing. And it's a great that, not only can you play games through that, you can also through being able to play games through a lot of these different places. Pretty much Steam is the go-to. Everybody goes to Steam, and you'll now be able to have a way of being able to play your games through um, uh, through the handheld, through SteamOS, through Steam Deck, and through the Steam machine. And you'll be able to play games through however you want, whatever place that you are able to do so. It's like you don't need to go out and spend um, billions of dollars on. Uh, I mean, you don't need to go and spend thousands of dollars on an OS when I can sit here and spend, like, you can spend $300 on a Windows, officially $300 on Windows, where Linux I can spend nothing except for getting the hardware that I need and be able to do it. And so it's one of those things that you can do whatever you feel like. But of course, there are some things that are not so good and so much problematics the within it. There was a recent thing with Linux that I don't know much details on it, but there was a recent thing that's been around since 2017 that basically made a problem with Linux as a whole. So don't think that Linux is going to be your safest place to go because there's no antivirus software. There's no there are things on Linux that are um, going to cause problems. Every system that you have, every PlayStation, every Xbox, um, every cell phone, everything that you have, there are going to be viruses. There's going to be content that's going to be on all of these platforms that can still screw you over. And it doesn't matter. There's going to be that point of safety that you just have to do the common sense and protect your system, protect yourself. If you have an SSD, um, if you have an SSD, you're gonna want to check your disk health every now and then, because I had that thing happen to me with my Linux system. Now, of course, I have this thing where I'm not gonna load it down with a whole bunch of games and stuff, because the point of the matter is that I'm not gonna um uh I'm not gonna take that risk of not knowing if if my system's going to lose its data. My external hard drive is still hanging on, but it's on its last legs. So it's kind of one of those things where you check your system, you make sure that you're running these things and making sure that um that you know that yeah, these things can last for quite some time, but that doesn't mean that some drives are going to last 5 years, some will last longer, some will last shorter than what is advertised, because there's variables that within all of this. Everything that you do, you know, a controller, most of the time controllers are going to last as long as you take care of them. As long as you take care of these systems, things can last. And we just have to take care of our stuff. You know, discs are going to have disk rot. Over time, discs are going to fail. And it's the same thing with, like, yeah, you might have disk rot that your game might be sitting there and it's been sitting there for 10, 15 years. That game could potentially have disk rot. And, you know, and it just happens. You just naturally are keeping it nice and trying to keep everything safe, but sometimes disk rot happens and it exists. And so, the thing is like cartridges are gonna last a lot longer than typical discs, but nothing is ever perfect because if you go look back at the old floppy disks, when I was in college, they told I'm not in college, but in elementary school, they literally told us not to mess with computers around with magnets around computers because computers back then had a lot harder, more susceptible to um, being harmed by magnets than they do today. Yeah, you still need to be careful around it with magnets, but it's not as bad as it used to be. You know, when you go and you look at the floppy disks, a lot of times if you put a magnet near the floppy disk, your data's gone. It's gone. You can't get it back. So we've come a long way in terms of these things, but yeah, we're gonna be in debt right now. But I keep like I do is I keep coming in to where yeah I spent money to travel, I gain some money back, but then I lose it all. So it's right now I am just sitting here paying off a loan and barely making anything. So it's really a struggle right now for me in the game, but um I could easily just sell this vehicle off and just take you and just take off and utilize, but I have to have a vehicle sitting here. So I could just literally just let this sit and take other vehicles, but I'm not going to. This vehicle is literally um, malfunctioning because I have a 22% on damage on my stuff to repair, and I have $29 or 9,000 on this vehicle that really needs to be fixed on basically the axles and the in front interior front cabins and things need to be fixed. But this truck still runs, so I haven't really done much to it and let my other drivers have better vehicles. Um, because to be honest, that's the best thing you can do. Is like if I sold this vehicle off, I just basically would not be able to make enough to buy a vehicle anyway. Like yeah, I'm having that much of a problem. But there is things within this game. It's not a big deal within the game like this. But there are some other things where that are serious, that are problematic, that aren't in this game. To be honest, um, is Trump. Now, of course, a lot of you have pretty basically know what's going on right now. That we are having some struggles in the United States. Gas is going up. Things are going up in price. A lot of things are going up in price. Not just, and I'm not talking um like hardware and stuff, but look at the router stuff. Routers. Let's say you want to upgrade your router to meet the current standard of Wi-Fi 7 to meet that current standard. Well, guess what? It's going to eventually, if you don't do it now, you might end up having to pay a premium down the road because So it's going to be one of those things where, routers at some point maybe cost more, and or because we have a specifically been put into a ban on foreign made routers, and the only router really made in America is Starlink. And that's and I don't really trust Starlink in the first place. I still have a router sitting here back. I still have my a router sitting in my thing for that it's an old router. It's not gonna do the greatest thing, but if I needed to and we had to hobble something or whatnot, I can still use it. It's not the greatest thing, but you know, and not being able to get the board made routers because of national security. No, they don't really. A lot of these people who think that they know about security and know about things, they don't. If you really think about the security and the implications, all Windows is a security vulnerability. Linux is a security vulnerability. It is not. It's like you get rid of the foreign made routers. Well, guess what? There are still going to be problems with that because there's going to be backdoors. There's going to be people that are going to have um, these things where people are still going to end up getting caught. PlayStation, if you start implementing AI, I mean facial recognition and requiring IDs, there's a attack vector right there that's going to be easily implicated for attackers, hackers, and thieves to take your data and utilize that against you. And those are the things that are really security vulnerabilities right there. The biggest one is you don't want to give people more identity, more more information to then be able to get more information just to ruin your life. I don't care if a app requires you have to be 18. Well, what if you really check that application at an 18, and then you go and say, okay, well, my child can download this. This is fine. But then that app at 13, and they're 13 years of age, that app basically says it's a different app now. It's a different app, and it allows for your child to have access um, to unsolicited content that should not be given to a child. It's the problem. That's a problem. There are going to be things out there where people are going to find ways to exploit these things and actually make it harder for um makes it easier for information to be taken, and makes it harder on the parents um to really control their child when the government is trying to do that. Government should not be controlling people's lives in a way that directly harms or physically harms somebody else, or taking away um, the rights of a parent. Parents should be making those decisions on the ability for uh, giving people the opportunity to have a better thing, and those are things that we should really be focused on instead of putting people in danger in harm's way, making it even worse for it. I off game. Sometimes the mod just really does not want to work with me properly. But another thing that really bothers a lot of the problems that are faced is not just with technology, but within places being changing people's way of doing their daily life. You know, like right now, Trump is basically says that as soon as he's done with Iran, and he's going to take over Cuba. He's going to regime change Cuba immediately. He's already harming Cuba anyway. But it's like, and it's like you want to take away people's life and livelihood, then you're not really doing any better at being a good person. A good person doesn't harm somebody else. Physically, should not be harming somebody else, and mentally should not be putting somebody where they're going to potentially harm themselves in general. In general. And, you shouldn't be doing things like that. And people who get angry over materialistic items, getting angry over things because they lost everything, because you know and they're frustrated because, oh, I'm pissed off because I lost everything in my home. I literally they're just materialistic items. They can be replaced. A human life cannot. It's the same thing when you look at people. Like, I will hear a lot of times that people will say, "Oh, they're trying to take away, men are trying to take away women, take away trophies from women." When you look at that, Trump did the same thing. The Riley Gaines was pissed off because she didn't get her trophy right away. No, it's stupid. It is so stupid to get silly over a piece of of plastic, or a piece of thing that, you know like, if I had to give up everything that I owned just so that I could survive, I would. I would be, yeah, I'd be a little bit frustrated that I can't keep it, but I would give it up if I had to. Okay? I'm not somebody that's going to be, get angry over it and continue to get angry over it and continue to get frustrated that I didn't get what I want, so I'm going to just go out and take it out on somebody else. Those things we should not be doing. We shouldn't be doing things that are out there for those. Yeah, I'm gonna do this. Yep. Because I'm going to pick up, because I can pick up my speed a little bit better than these guys can. But it's a lot of those things where, you take away and you harm people because you don't like what they're doing. Okay? Yeah, we may disagree. We may have um arguments. We may disagree because of the political reasons. But we shouldn't be taking away people's rights because because you don't like it. Like, you can be a Christian and don't agree with it, but then, as a Christian myself, is like, I don't care about taking, like, I don't care about what you believe. You can believe this way, you can believe this that way. You can believe the same things I do. You can believe in differently, and that's okay. You have every right to do that. But if you're going out there and taking away people's rights and taking it away because you disagree, because you hate certain people, then you're no better. You're no better than you're no better at taking care of um you're no you're not a good person if you're out there trying to um take somebody else's rights away, because all they're going to do is they're going to try to find ways to take away your rights and take away what you think what should be. And to be honest, the one thing that I will tell you, that there are two things that I will tell you that most things um that I will tell you is that if you look at a Republican wants to get rid of your freedom of speech. A Republican wants to take away your right to have the way to speak. Okay, they want to take it away because they don't want you to learn about LGBTQ. They want you to learn a specific way and follow that specific standpoint. But then you look at a Democrat, and a Democrat wants to take away your Second Amendment rights. They want to basically, because it's physically harming people, and it's basically they're both right there wanting to ban, like Republicans banning books because certain books shouldn't be taught to kids because they're they're there, and there's a lot of books that shouldn't be banned because that's basically our freedom to learn and freedom to choose. You know, if if we all decided to agree upon and actually agree on one scripture, then we wouldn't have 150 different scriptures. We wouldn't have 150 different plus scriptures. We wouldn't have we'd all be following what God wants us to do, but we all don't. There are people out there that literally don't follow everything. I don't even follow everything. And there are a lot of people that are worse off, that are not perfect, but that claim that they're Christian and they're not Christian. Christian is, you're only Christian in name only. You only claim to be a Christian, but you're not. It's the same thing. Like you may be a maybe a Democrat, but you're only a Democrat in name. Um, but you're actually a Republican, or you are somebody that's in the MAGA movement. If you're somebody that is like John Fetterman, who believes that they're a Democrat, but then absolutely is a Republican and voting with Republicans because that's all they do, that's all you're gonna do, then you're not a Democrat. You're only a Republican and a Democrat in name, and actually a Republican. There are a lot of things that need to be changed, and people should be, basically, you should stand by what you say. Don't change what you're going to say at a time of changing your way of thinking at a point of being a, like, you're going to campaign on being a Democrat and campaign on actually doing the things that you need to say, then you need to continue to be somebody that's that way, and not be a um, somebody that's going to be out there willing to um, put harm to people and put harm out there. And don't be a bad person out there. Don't go out and just say these things that you're going to follow them and then don't. Like for me, it's like I've told you before that I don't, like, I am somebody that is a pro-choice in everything. I don't care if you go out and get an abortion. Like, I do care a little bit, but I'm like, I don't care because at the same time, um, I don't want that to be going on with in my own family and things like that, or just directly affecting that by that. But at the same time, um, you know, what's going on is absolutely taking and utilizing abortion in the way that they want to get rid of it because it's horrible, because of what happens. Like, women are just going out there just to have an abortion, okay, just to have it. But what actually is happening is that when you do that, it actually affects more than what is actually the intended target. It's the same thing when you start taking away trans people from using the bathroom. Your actually intended target is actually affecting more people than what it actually is trying to do. And that's why I don't agree with uh, banning abortion because you disagree with it. It is the fact that you don't agree with it, then don't go and get an abortion. That's the whole point. If you don't agree with it, then don't go and do those things. If you don't like watching adult content, then make sure that you have those parameters set up at your home. If you don't want your kids watching it, Windows has these built in. There are basically, you can have browser extensions and things to prevent your child from having access to it. It's not going to be perfect because nothing will ever be perfect. You want to start banning VPNs because Utah's starting to do that? That's not there either. And taking away the ability because you don't want to watch content, don't want to have people watching content from another area. Like you are a watching in Utah, but you're out there on watching content out in say you're acting out in Poland, but you're actually in Utah watching content. That's basically seemed to eyes as illegal. But the problem is that there's going to be people are still going to find ways to get around all of this. There's going to be at some point they're going to find ways, and there's going to be people out there that are going to be willing to do it, and it's going to be even worse than just basically allowing the official places to watch adult content through official means, places that are absolutely taking and making sure. There's always going to be a slip up here and there. There's always going to be something that's going to slip through the cracks because it does, and it happens. But it happens because we're all human. We all make mistakes. AI is going to make mistakes because us as humans are programming AI to do these things, and AI is going to make those mistakes just like we do because we're human. We were never perfect. And AI will never be perfect either when we make mistakes. Yeah, there are going to be times where AI might be a little bit better than us because they're going to find things, but then at the same time, there's always going to be problems within these processes and things like that. But I'm going to tell you this, guys. I am going to get off. It is. I know I'm only here for an hour today, for the afternoon because, um, uh, yeah, because I'm not quite perfect in getting on live when I'm supposed to get live. I'm supposed to be live at 3 o'clock, 3:30 today, and I didn't get live at those times. So you know, um, today is the 4th. Nope, 26. That way I just name it that way because then we know it's the date, that it's Project Japan, and then we use today's date. If it's Europe, then I don't name it that way. I just name it the date, and that's it. But I will tell you this, guys. We'll be back tonight with some Call of Duty. We are going to probably do some multiplayer tonight, um, or whatever. But it's going to be that tonight. Then, the next time that you guys will see Euro Truck will be on Wednesday. Um, for that. Um, and tomorrow, we will get back into Final Fantasy 13. So, if you guys are wanting to see content from me, make sure you guys are subscribed here on YouTube. Remember, YouTube is afternoons only, with Twitch, there. And then at night, we do Twitch only. So, if you guys are wanting to see that, it's always great to be on the Twitch side as well by hitting that follow. Um, so that you guys can get all the juicy content. And you do need to be a follow in order to chat in on Twitch. Um, Here on YouTube, I don't think you need to be a subscriber though, but I might start putting that down at some point. But I haven't seen any problems here on YouTube, so YouTube's at least doing some good things around it. So anyway, we will catch you guys back here tonight about 9 p.m. Central Time, and maybe 10 at the latest. Um, so anyway, we'll catch you guys later.